Hello everyone, my name is Rishiki. At first, I would like to say that please kindly subscribe my channel. So today I am going to read Annie Frank Part 2. So, in our previous video, that is Annie Frank Part 1, we have discussed how and when Annie got her diary, her school life, about anti-Jewish laws. Trouble started for Jews because of these laws, and so on. So, the ones who want to watch this video, that is Annie Frank Part 1, they can get the video link from the description box. So today we are going to read Annie Frank Part 2, in which I am going to discuss why, when and how she and her family started hiding away from rest of the world in order to stay safe. Okay, so now let's begin with our story. Sunday, June 21, 1942. Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quacking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the upcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up the next form and who will be kept back. Half of the class is making bets. GZ and I start laughing ourselves at the two boys behind us. CN and Jacques Concernot, who have stacked their entire vacation saving on their beds. From morning to night, it's "You are going to pass." "No, I am not." "Yes, you are." "No, I am not." G's pleading glances and my angry outburst can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. Maybe this time they will be unpredictable in the right direction for a change. Wednesday, June 24, 1942. Dearest Kitty, it is sweltering. Everyone is huffing and puffing, and in this heat, I have to walk everywhere. Only now do I realize how pleasant a tram is. But we Jews are no longer allowed to make use of this luxury. Our own 2 feet are good enough for us. Yesterday, at the lunchtime, I had an appointment with the dentist on known as Jan Lucanster. It is a long way from our school on Stans Demertian. That afternoon, I nearly fell asleep at my desk. Fortunately, people automatically offer you something to drink. The dental assistant is really very kind. The only mode of transportation left to us is the ferry. The ferryman at Joseph Isrenket took us across when we asked him to. It's not the fault of the Dutch that we Jews are having such a bad time. I wish I didn't have to go to school. My bike was stolen during the Eastern holidays, and father gave mother's bike to some Christian friends for safekeeping. Thank goodness, summer holidays are almost here. One more week and our torment will be over. Sunday, July 5, 1942. The examination result were announced in the Jewish theater on Friday. My report card wasn't too bad. I got 1D, C in algebra and all the rest B except for 2 B plus and 2 Bs. My parents are pleased, but they are not like other parents when it comes to grades. They never worry about report cards, good or bad. As long as I am healthy and happy and not too cheeky, they are satisfied. If these three things are all right, everything else will take care of itself. I am just the opposite. I don't want to be a bad pupil. I was accepted to the Jewish Lyceum on a conditional basis. I was supposed to stay at the Montessori school. But when Jewish children were required to go to Jewish schools, Mr. LT finally agreed after a great deal of persuasion to accept Lise Gosler and me. Lise also passed this year, though she has to repeat her geometry exam. Poor Lise, it isn't easy for her to study at home. Her baby sister, a spoiled little 2 years old, plays in her room all day. If Gabby doesn't get her way, she starts screaming. And if Lise doesn't look after her, Mr. Gosler starts screaming. So Lise has a hard time doing her homework as long as there's the case. The extra tuition she's been getting won't help her much. The Goslers' household is really a sight. Mrs. Gosler's parents live next door, but eat with the family. There's a hired girl, the baby, and the always absent-mindedly and absent Mr. Gosler, and the always nervous and irritable Mrs. Gosler, who's expecting another baby. Lise, whose all thumbs gets lost in the mayhem. My sister McGott has also gotten her report. Brilliant as usual. If we had such a thing like cum laude, she would have passed with honors. She's so clever. Father has been home a lot lately. There's nothing for him to do at the office. It must be awful to feed. You are not needed. Mr. Galeman has taken over Opecta, and Mr. Kungler, Gaze and Co., the company dealing in spices and Spies subtitle. The was set up in 1941. A few days ago, as we were taking a stroll around our neighborhood square, Father began to talk about going into hiding. He said that it won't be very hard for us to stay separated from rest of the world. I asked him why he was bringing this up. Well, Annie, he replied, you know that for 2 than a year we have been sending our clothes, food, furniture to other people. We don't want our belongings to be seized by the Germans, nor do we want to fall into the clutches ourselves. So we will have to leave of our own accord and not wait to be halted away. But when Father, he sounded so serious that I was scared. Don't you worry, we will take care of everything. Just enjoy your carefree life while you can. That was it. Oh, may the sombre words won't come true for as long as possible. The doorbell's ringing. Here, time to stop. Yours, Annie. Wednesday, July 8, 1942. Dearest Kitty, it seems like years since Sunday morning. So much has happened. It's as if the whole world has suddenly turned upside down. But as you can see, Kitty, I'm still alive. And that's the main thing. Father says I'm alive, all right. But don't ask where or how. You probably don't understand a word I'm saying today. So I will begin by telling you what happened Sunday afternoon. At 3 o'clock, the doorbell rang. I didn't hear it since I was out on the balcony, lazily reading a book in the sun. A little while later, Maggot appeared on the balcony and in the kitchen doorway looking very agitated. Father had received a call-up notice from the SS. She whispered, Mother has gone to see Mr. Van Dan. Mr. Van Dan is Father's business partner and a good friend. I was stunned. A call-up? Everyone knows what this means. Visions of concentration camps and lonely cells raced through my head. How could we let Father go to such a fate? Of course he's not going, declared Maggot as we waited for Mother in the living room. Mother's gone to Mr. Van Dan to ask whether we can move to our hiding place. Tomorrow, the Mr. Van Dans are going with us. There will be 7 of us altogether. Silence. We couldn't speak. The thought of Father of visiting someone in the Jewish hospital and completely unaware what was happening in the long wait for mother, the heat, the suspense. All this reduced us to silence. Suddenly, the doorbell rang again. Don't open the door, explained Maggot to stop me. But it wasn't necessary, since we heard Mother and Mr. Van Daan downstairs talking, and then the two of them came inside and shut the door behind them. Every time the bell rang, either Maggot or I have to tiptoe downstairs to see if it was father, and we didn't let anyone else in. Maggot and I were sent from the room as Mr. Van Daan wanted to talk to mother alone. When she and I were sitting in our bedroom, Maggot told me that the call up was not for father, but for her. At the second shock, I began to cry. Maggot is 16. Apparently, they want to send girls her age away on their own. But thank goodness she won't be going. Mother had said so herself, which must be what father had meant when he talked to me about our going into hiding. Hiding? Where would we hide? In the city? In the country? In a house? In a stock? When? Where? How? These were the questions I wasn't allowed to ask, but they still kept running through my mind. My God and I started packing our most important belongings into a sachet. The first thing I stuck in was this diary, and then the curlers, handkerchiefs, school books, a comb, and some old letters. Preoccupied by the thought of going into hiding, I struck the craziest things in the back. But I am not sorry. Memories mean more to me than my dresses. Father finally came home, and after around 5 o'clock, we rang Mr. Kelman to ask if he could come by that evening. Mr. Van Daan left and went to get Meep. Meep arrived and promised to return later that night, taking with her a bag full of shoes, dresses, jackets, underwears, and stockings. After that, it was quiet in our flat. None of us felt like eating. It was still hot, and everything was very strange. We had rented our big upstairs room to a Mr. Goldsmith, a divorced man in his 30s, who apparently had nothing to do that evening, since, despite all our polite hints, he hung around until 10 o'clock. Meep and Jan Geese came at 11. Meep, who's worked for father's company since 1933, had become a close friend, and so has her husband Jan. Once again, shoes, stockings, books, and underwear disappeared into Meep's bag and Jan's deep pockets. At 11:30, they too disappeared. I was exhausted, and even though I knew it would be my last night in my own bed, I fell asleep right away and didn't wake up until mother called me at 5:30 the next morning. Fortunately, it wasn't as hot as Sunday. A warm rain fell throughout the day. The four of us were wrapped in so many layers of clothes. It looked as if we are going off to spend the night in a refrigerator. And all that just so we could take more clothes with us. No Jew in our situation would dare to leave the home with a suitcase full of clothes. I was wearing two vests, three pairs of stockings, heavy shoes, a cap, a scarf, and lots more. I was suffocating even before we left the house. But no one bothered to ask me how I felt. Maggot stuffed her school bag with school books, went to get her bicycle, and with Meep leading the way, we rode off into the great unknown. At any rate, that's how I thought of it, since I still didn't know where our hiding place was. At 7:30, we two closed the door behind us. Murji, my cat, was the only living creature I said goodbye to. According to a note we left for Mr. Goldsmith, she was to be taken to the neighbors who would give her a good home. The striped beds, the breakfast things on the table, the pond of meat for the cat in the kitchen, all of this created the impression that we would leave in a hurry. But we weren't interested in impressions. We just wanted to get out of there at any cost and reach our destination in safety. Nothing else mattered. More tomorrow. Yours, Annie. Thursday, July 9,